Now, Trump's pick to head the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, is a big deal. All right, to you and to me, and what information you can get, what is kept from you, and why. That's why we asked Brendan Carr to come on. He has said a top priority will be to stop censorship, what he calls the censorship cartel. Who is that and how? How do we get to a safer place, a better place, where conversation is encouraged and ideas are out there? But then what's the balance? Brendan Carr joins us now. Congratulations on the pick. And I look forward, obviously, to watching the whole process go through. But I wish you good luck. And I think this is a really important thing you're touching on. What do you see as the problem? What do you think is the fix?
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on, Chris. I mean, look, I think Americans have been seeing an unprecedented surge in censorship, particularly over the last couple of years. Look, I think it accelerated during COVID-19. Anytime you have an increase in government control, you necessarily have a decrease in free speech. It's fundamentally un-American. As you stand yourself, diversity of opinion is so important in this country, and it's going to be one of my top priorities, is trying to smash this censorship cartel.
How do you smash it? And again, Brendan, full disclosure to the audience, I've done a lot of research on you. I wish you well in doing this. I don't want to screw up your process by getting so into the weeds that it all comes back to haunt you when you go through the confirmation. And I welcome you back on the show to have, once you get into the position and you look at it and you see what the resources are and the different angles, I'll talk to you about it whenever you want. So what is a basic notion of who you target and how? How do you stop them from controlling their own platforms?
Yeah, it's actually pretty straightforward. So you asked, who's part of this censorship cartel? Well, it's multifaceted. One, you've got a lot of these platforms that are just acting on their own to censor speech. But two, what we saw, particularly during the Biden administration, was pressure from government officials to censor speech as well. We also have a cohort of advertising and marketing agencies that have been working together, in my view, to collude to crack down on free speech. That's an issue, I think, in part for the Federal Trade Commission. So, for instance, if you have companies that get together and decide not to compete on a feature of business, including content moderation, that's possibly a problem under our competition laws. And in fact, some of the Federal Trade Commission commissioners have spoken about it. The FCC also administers Section 230, which is part of the Communications Act itself. That's the provision that a lot of these technology companies have used to silence divergent speech. I think the FCC can take a look at implementing that in a way that's going to promote more speech, not less. So there's a lot on the FCC's plate that I would, look forward to getting started on.
So one more thing. One, on 230, just for the folks at home, unlike NewsNation, Facebook can't be sued the same way that we can for what we put out that is found to be recklessly disregarding of what we know to be true, okay? Actual malice. Do you believe that has to be rethought? And what is the line for you in terms of what they should be trying to police, if anything?
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, Section 230 does two things. One, if you leave someone else's speech up on your platform like Facebook, it says Facebook isn't liable if that speech happens to be tortious in any way. I think that's a pretty good provision. It's what I call a pro-speech provision. The problem is a second portion of it, C2, which says that these social media companies can censor, not just consistent with the First Amendment, whatever those bounds there are, but with these special 230 protections. And courts have read immunities into that takedown provision that are found nowhere in the statutory text. So I think if we go back to the statute, that will put us in much better stead with promoting a diversity of viewpoints.
Do you believe that that it's not just that they have a right, but that they have a need to be able to use the very sophisticated technology that they have, which we both know, because if you and I have a conversation on email about what kind of jigs are working when we're fishing for tuna, all of a sudden we both start getting ads for them. So they clearly know how to figure out what people are saying and what to do about it. Do you believe that they should have a responsibility to figure out what kind of content is disinformation or misinformation or is, bigoted or prejudiced? Or do you think Congress should do that? Or do you think no one should do it?
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, trying to draw the lines between disinformation and misinformation is very fraught. At the end of the day, more often than not, people are slapping those labels on political speech they disagree with. I think what we should try to protect is core political speech, religious speech, scientific speech. I don't think we want, the FCC or any entity to be sort of superintending a lot of these decisions, but we have a lot of these fact checkers out there that are really just narrative checkers. I sent a letter recently to a company called NewsGuard that, in my view, has been at the forefront of this censorship cartel. But I think we need to return. But it's not just social media. Look, we see it in media, as you've known from your career. We've had too much bias in the media as well. This is an important issue. Broadcasters, for instance, have an obligation to serve the public interest, and a lot of people get skittish about that. But it's the law. It's not just my opinion, and something has to change. Bezos recently did that op-ed where he said the status quo is just not working for traditional media. Trust has absolutely cratered. It wasn't that long ago that mass media was the most trusted institution in America. And for a long time, it at least stayed above Congress in terms of trust, but it's recently fallen below Congress. And so something there is not working. I think the FCC needs to make sure that broadcasters are held to their public interest obligations.
I think it's digital media makes money by attacking its competition. And the question is, what's going to happen on that horizon? You got a lot of big questions in front of you. And again, you have an open invitation here at NewsNation to talk about what is happening and what you're going to do about it. And I may not like what you're doing, but I'll always give you an opportunity to make the case to the audience. I promise you that.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, look, on the speech front, there's a lot we can do, but also just on the economy. President Trump sort of turned this economy around once before. The FCC can play a big part in that, whether it's permitting reform, more spectrum, or getting our space economy going a lot faster. There's a lot we're going to do, and it's a really exciting time for the country.
Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.